Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I'm building my worm habitat. I don't want to call it a worm bin or a worm tub because it's their home. So it's pretty much their worm home. And the way that I am building this, I will not have to sift through anything. It will pretty much harvest itself. And in the bottom, I will have amazing worm juice that I will be able to dilute and use as a wonderful, just worm tea in my garden. It has so many great uses. So why don't we head out there and get started? So now that we're out here in my garden, let's talk materials for a second of what you're going to need for this. You're going to need 3 bins, 1 lid. You're also going to need some peat moss, some shredded paper, and also some shredded or at least torn up real small cardboard, as well as some food, which I'm using some kitchen scraps here that I'm going to run through my food processor to feed my worms. You're also going to need, of course, the most important thing are your worms. So let's get over here and get started. So here's my bins. This blue bin is what these other bins are going to sit on top of, which is going to collect all of the worm juice, which can be diluted and used as worm tea in your garden to help fertilize all of your plants, as well as other uses, which we'll discuss in another video. Now I've already drilled all of the necessary holes, put some holes in the lid because of course worms need air. And in these bins here, these 2 black bins, are where the worms are going to live. We've drilled holes all in the bottom of both bins, as well as around the sides here, so they can get their air. Now the way this system is going to work is that we're going to set up the worm bed here in this top bin with the worms and set down first right here where the holes in the bottom will send all of the worm juice down into this bin here where I can empty as it fills. This bin will remain empty and sit up on top. That way, when the worms are done composting everything in this bin, we'll create some new bedding in the top and some more food. The worms will climb up through the holes in the bottom here and will be in this bin. Then we can take all of the precious worm castings that will be in this middle bin. No need to harvest. They're already there. Apply it to the garden. Put it back on top. Start the process all over again. So let's get building this bin, huh? Okay, so I've put all of my worm food through my food processor, and I left some of them in chunks so that they do have some things that they can go through and eat. But I did want to make some of it pureed so that I can get them to stretch out. Because when you put your worms in their new home, they're going to want to stick together in a colony, so you're going to want to put them on one side and put some food to entice them to spread out and move to the other side, which is why I liquefied some of it. Plus, it's a little easier for them to eat, and we want to keep them happy and prevent them from trying to escape. So, what we're going to start with to make this bedding is I'm going to first toss in a little bit of my crumpled up cardboard, because from what I've heard and what I've learned through my research is that they do really like this cardboard. So I'm going to go ahead and place down a layer of that. And then we're going to put down a nice, good layer of this shredded paper. And we're going to want to moisten that just a little bit. Remember, there are holes. As a matter of fact, so I don't leak water all over my balcony, I'm going to take the other lid, place it underneath, just so we don't have to worry about too much leakage. We're just going to moisten it down just a little bit. We can always add more. I think that looks pretty good. Okay. Now we are going to add some of our peat moss. Now, worms, when they come to you, they usually come in peat moss. Sorry, traffic. Can't avoid it in New York. They usually come in peat moss, dirt, something to that effect. So you don't want to shock them too much by just putting them in a bunch of composting material. It might be a little too much for them. They won't be happy. They'll try to escape. So now that we have this in here, okay, looks real good. Now I pre-moisten the peat moss, but I do want to add a bit more water because I know that cardboard is going to need to soak up a lot for it to stay moist. You do not want your worm bin to dry out. Worm home. I don't want to call it a worm bin. I'm going to add a little bit more of the paper. Actually, I'm going to add the rest of it. They're going to eat through this. Oh, and I see a little pool of water on the lid. It's a good thing I put it there. Now I've saved some of this cardboard so that I can lay it across the top so that they can stay nice and happy. I'm going to pre-moisten this. And just stir it up with a little of that peat moss. Oh, that looks beautiful. So far, this is what we're looking like. Now I'm going to take my little bucket and I'm going to grab some of my compost, bit of soil, a little extra organic material mix, just so they can get a little bit more acclimated. So again, not so much of a shock for them. I only filled this about halfway just to add a nice layer on top of the paper because these red worms do like to stay to the top, so they're not going to work towards the bottom too much, at least not right away. But because we're not filling this bin, they should be pretty okay with working their way through it, especially adding our chunks of food scraps. Now, I just have some sliced bananas. I'm getting my fingers all dirty, but it's the fun of gardening. I have some apple chunks. I did have some avocados that didn't quite make it. So I'm going to just spread these out. Ooh. Mix it around a little. Let's see if I... This is what you do in a garden when you don't have a hose. Rinse with your watering can. There we go. Give that a stir. And that looks beautiful. I think they are going to be quite happy. Okay, now we are going to add our worms. Now I'm starting off with a relatively small amount of worms. I picked these up from my local bake shop, and altogether I have 72 worms here, but they do reproduce as long as they're happy and very quickly. So I didn't want to go about spending too much money. Oh, I'm so happy they're all waking up. I'm going to take a look at one of these guys and see if I can get one. Oh, it's a big one. Let's get these guys in here a little closer. Okay. I'm just going to drop them right in. I really don't know what to do, these poor guys. But at least they will not be fish food. That one came out kind of plump. There's still a little. There we go. All right there. Now we will feed them with all of our ground kitchen scraps. Shake it down there. Should have maybe brought a spatula out. That's okay. Let's try the shovel. There we go. I can already see them moving over towards this food kind of slop that I made for them. All over there. There's something nice to eat. Now I noticed as I was adding the worms that what they were in was actually pretty dry. So I'm going to go ahead and give them a little more water. See if that doesn't wake them up a little bit more. Again, with this system, any extra water will just drain right out, along with any of the worm juice. So you don't really have to worry too much. Another piece of newspaper. Now, they're a little paralyzed right now. They don't like the light. They really don't get moving too much until it's dark. So I'm going to go ahead and cover them up with some of this cardboard here. This top layer of cardboard. More of that on my hand. Paper bags are very helpful. Just until they get a little more acclimated, I'm just going to cover up my whole system here with this paper bag, which they will eventually end up composting through anyway. And they're all in here, all right in there. So now let's put the whole worm home together. Now remember, this is the second bin. So this is going to go right in here on top of the blue bin. Get this in here. And see how it's up nice and high? So it has plenty of room for all of that drainage, which is fantastic. We'll put this bin right here on the top. Put the lid on. And as soon as they're done working this bin, then we will be making new bedding for this. They'll climb up through those holes right into the top. We'll switch the bins. This bin will be full of worm castings and beautiful compost for fertilizer for my garden. And we'll start the process all over again. And we will be making some update videos as time goes on. So make sure you stay tuned. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and click that button. And don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss any more of our videos. All right. We'll see you next time.